All right. Hey, what's up, everyone? It is Tuesday, and I'm Angela Kiesenbing with Angela Grace Events. I believe every day is a reason to celebrate. And today, oh my goodness, guys, it is the last Tuesday of 2020. And you know what that means. It's time for Tuesday, 20-minute Tuesdays, conversations with Angela. And today I don't have any friends, but I am going to go back and recap what I learned, what we learned together from oh my gosh, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight of them. My goodness. Thank you guys so much for being on the show. Really appreciate it. And thank you. If you guys are watching, make sure you go ahead and allow StreamYard access to share your profile photo. So if you leave a comment, I could throw it up here and see your beautiful face. So as we get started, I just want to say thank you again for everyone who watched and joined during these 20-minute conversations and really supported each person and all the comments that you guys gave, and just really for jumping in and sharing your takeaways. It's just been such an interesting journey. This whole year has been, right? And I just want to let you know, I see you, I hear you, and I'm right there with you. We have gone through so much this year, some more than others, and you know what? It's all real, it's all valid. Just take a minute to take a deep breath and know it's okay, right? Things are going to be okay. So after looking at reviewing all of the videos, thinking about the conversations that I had with these amazing women, entrepreneurs, friends, moms, daughters, wives, just people who are really doing what they do best, is that as we celebrate, it really is all about doing the best with what you have, right? Doing the best you can with what you have. And more, this theme comes up in my life personally over and over again. I just was able to share this in a conversation with my family yesterday. And it's just so important, right? Especially in a year where things feel like they've been ripped from us, right? Taken away, or however you want to see it, right? The key is here, though, how can we flip the script? How can we look back at 2020 and really choose to be happy and choose to look at the good, right? And I want to start that off in case you don't get to the end of the show, because I really want to make it clear and make it known that there are so many opportunities that if you choose to look and listen, they are there. My family and I had celebrated, just the day, at the end of the day, we had a family meeting, we talked, and we looked back and we're like, okay, let's challenge ourselves to look back and think, what happened in 2020? And at first it was kind of like, oh, we couldn't go to school, we couldn't do this, we couldn't do that. And then I was like, wait a minute, let's look back and see, what are all the good things? What are all the amazing things that happened in 2020? How can we celebrate the good still, even though there were things that were not, so pleasant, right? And so for me, it was like, man, I remember the day that, my husband and I really needed a date, and my daughter, I had cooked spaghetti the night before, and she set the table, she made a menu, she poured us, some wine, and had chocolates out there, and we sat at the table. She even took her iPad and she put a fireplace on and put it like the stand right there on the table. I thought that was just so sweet, and that was something for me to just celebrate. And now for me also, like I would play. I would look up Ninth Wonder, and he would be playing, live on Instagram, and I would just put it right there on our windowsill, and we would just eat dinner, listening to music. And there's just so many things that now are going to mark 2020, right? And it's not just going to be the mask. It's not going to just be COVID. It's not just going to be the things we couldn't do. It's all the things that we celebrated that were good in life. Okay. And so I just encourage you guys to do your best, do the best with what you can, and look back and really capture those moments, right? Look in between the lines, look between the masks and all the other things, right? And for those of you who really did have a hard time, my heart goes out to you, and I feel you, I see you, and you know, let's keep moving forward, and let's get into this. So again, make the most with what you have, no matter what the challenges are, okay? And so all these women, all these 8 women that we interviewed, I want to say I look at them and I look up to them so much. I admire them, and they've got grit, they've got grace, and they've turned their passion into profit, right? In a world where things are just so uncertain, not just this year, pivot was a big word. It's like the word of 2020, right? Like, how do we pivot? How do we try and, do things differently? How do we shift, if you will? My sister was my first guest, Andrea Griffin from Everything Beautiful, and she's a florist and she makes these beautiful flowers. She just had a baby and she was not working, obviously, because she just had the baby. And we welcomed her little daughter into the world, and then she also was able to um, thrive in her business, right? And so I was really proud of her and to have her on the show. And one of the things that she shared was really to send flowers to yourself, right? There are some people who do it, and that's okay. Like, at first you're like, what? Why would I do that? But you know what? Try it out. Try it out. Check out Everything Beautiful, My Everything Beautiful, I believe, on Instagram. But there's just something really special about taking care of yourself, right? We talk about all the different self-care ways we can take care of ourselves, right? What's something that you wouldn't normally do? And just do it, right? Try it out, see how it feels. And one of the other things is that, she finds beauty in everything, and she encourages all of us to find beauty in everything that we do. Okay. I thought that was really important to bring out, especially, where we are now. Tiffany was one of our longer interviews. We did like 2 20-minute conversations. And she is all about amplifying empathy. And we talked a lot about, focusing in on the importance of mental health during this time, and how it's important to share your story. She talked about, how she ended up where she's at today. And she gave this really cool analogy about like her freelance opportunities, or the small jobs that she had, were stars. And then all of these stars kind of aligned and became this entrepreneurial constellation, right? So everything that you go through, whether good or bad, or how you see it, whether it's a challenging, I want to say the challenging times are the things that make us, right? They make you or break you. And when you choose to allow them to make you, you just shine and you go over those humps, and you look back and you're like, dang, I did that, right? I did the hard thing. And so it was a really beautiful analogy that she shared, where she talks about these different challenges were the stars, right? And they came into alignment into where she is now. And one of the things that I thought was really cool is she called me an entrepreneurial doula. Thank you. Never had been called that before. But also, healing is important. So making sure that you heal through challenging times as well, so that you can celebrate the healing, celebrate the wins, right? DJ Mandy Mixes, oh my goodness, she came on. We talked about virtual dance parties, and then we talked about how she has a dance party that usually happens in September that did not happen, obviously, because we cannot gather. However, she held so many virtual dance parties with so many different groups of people, and spread joy through what she loves doing, which is playing music, and entertaining. So I thought that was really cool. But the other thing that she had brought up was that she was able to collaborate with Milestone House, which is a local foster care for girls, and was able to use her dance parties to raise money for this charity. And so I thought that was a really nice collaboration. It's really important to connect with your community and collaborate in that kind of way, right? And then Ritika from Challenge Island, San Diego Coastal, we talked about creating opportunities for the family to be together and celebrating the mesh, the overlap of working at home with our kids and schooling our kids, right, at the same time. I mean, oh my gosh, kudos to everyone who got to do that. I'm sure for me, we had our ups, we had our downs. There were some days where it was like so beautiful, and it was, I wish I could be like this every day. And then there were some days where it was like, I'm like pulling out my hair, right? I'm sure that you guys were there with me and you can relate. But yeah, we talked about different ways where you can combine learning in a fun environment, right? So she talked about STEAM and the what it means to her. And one of the things that really came up was cooking. Like an example was cooking, which is a celebration of, food, and it's engaging, right? The kids are learning at the same time. It's life skills, it's math skills, like they're measuring things. Like we don't think about it so much. Sometimes we're like, oh, you got to do this math problem, but sometimes it's easy as just picking up the measuring cup, picking up, the little tablespoons, and letting them help and support, the process, because really that's the experience that we're creating for not only our kids, but ourselves, for our entire families. It's the memories that we're making. That was another very common thread as we had these conversations about how to celebrate creatively. It's about making those memories and being together. And it's so important. I love talking about this. Inclusion. She talked about inclusion a lot because, sometimes we as parents were like, okay, I'm done with work, got to go to the kitchen and get dinner going, right? Or let's just order dinner. But the beautiful thing about cooking with your kids is that it includes everyone. If you can find a job for everyone to do, right? And so what a beautiful way to introduce certain recipes, or even just, try new things. And then my ultimate favorite interview was with my daughter, Alana, at Mochi Bear Life on Instagram. Go follow her. I was so excited about this because I was going through and looking at who I wanted to interview, some of the different topics that I wanted to cover that I thought would be really relevant for, what we're going through. I was like, you know what? I'm going to interview my daughter. Like, I have this really big vision of, including my kids and my family and everything that I do. And there are times where I've had the pleasure of doing that. And when people will say, think of a time when you just felt so successful and you felt everything was like where you needed it to be. And one of the times that I remember is when I was hosting events for moms, and we did a San Diego Moms Night Out event at a theater. And Raquel, if you're watching, you might remember this, Bree. Um, we rented it out, and we rented out a theater, and we watched I think it was Moms Night Out, the movie, and it was just so amazing to sit back and look at this as it was unfolding, because I was there, my team was there. I had my son who was still pretty young, and I was carrying him in my baby carrier. My husband was helping set up tables, and my daughter was helping hold up a sign like, come this way. And it was just like, she's really proud of helping. And I was like, man, this is really cool. I get to do this with my family. And I know that's not everyone's dream. And if it is, not everyone gets to do it. And there are moments where I think back and I'm like, God, I got to do that. And if I can create more of those moments, how can I do that? And so long story short, I was able to interview my daughter and the show, and we talked about her whole motto of do what you love and never give up. And I'm just like, it's so simple. And the reason why I also wanted to bring her on was because, what, we get so caught up as adults, like, okay, we're celebrating like all of these, we wait for things to be really big and done to celebrate. But with kids, they're like, magic is everywhere, right? They're celebrating everything. I tied my shoe. Oh my gosh, I went to the bathroom, by myself. And, if we can just look at the world through our children's eyes or a child's eyes, like how much more imagination, how much more can that open up our minds to possibilities, to change, to solutions, like what can we do to start thinking like our kids again, in that sense, like open up our imagination. And if there's anything that has the 2020 has kind of like, I want to say robbed us of, but kind of has, for lack of better terms, robbed us of, is that imagination. Like, we want to make sure that we are not losing our imagination, and we want to keep moving forward, right? We want to dive in and continue to look at the possibilities, right? Let's celebrate the opportunities, celebrate the challenges, because they help us become more innovative. And so we talked about that. And let's see, learning something new, kind of in line with what Ritika was talking about, but learning something new together and creating memories. So one of the things that my kids love is the fact that we do these traditions, like what traditions do you guys do? Like for us, we decorate the tree on Thanksgiving, we try to keep those things very normal in our household and regular, because those are things that our kids look forward to. And let's see, we talked to Bree. We talked to Bree. And she is from breejiski.com. She's a blogger. She's a designer. She's a mom of two. And we talked about designing special moments, right in our home, right? Because we could not come out and play, if you will, in the normal setting during the holidays or even like throughout the year. So bringing the outside in by creating little hot cocoa stations and making it fun and creative, and planning ahead. She had this little hot cocoa station sign that was like a free printable, and I think it's only $5 if you wanted to add your family's last name. And I was like, these little things that we can do in our home to create, how can we create that space so that we feel like we're in a different environment, right? We're creating an ambiance. She talked about how, like, we're basically like, if you go into the bathroom and you create a spa experience, you're like basically teaching your brain, like, this is enough, right? Like, of course, when you have the time, go to the spa, get your hair done, do all those things when things open up. And, you can still create that same experience, that same ambiance right in your own bathroom, right? It's just setting aside that time. And then, just doing the best you can, again, with what you have. And then finally, we talked to Geraldine and Alexis. Let's go with Geraldine first. We talked about building memories and sharing our stories. And also that the pretty little things don't have to be crazy expensive, right? How can we focus on those things that really bring us joy? And how can we create these memories, right? That we can keep forever? How can we, in turn, take those memories and jot them down, document them in a way that's easy and simple for us, that, we're going to look back and be like, hey, again, these are the great things that happened in the year. And then we also had Alexis, who Geraldine. She is from Daldine Designs. She she's a professional papery. So she does like invitations, small gifts that make a big impact, right? And so it's very important to her, I know, like, for things to be pretty. And there's no shame in that. Like, let's make our spaces pretty. So I feel like these last three kind of have a very interesting design element to them. And so Alexis is a photographer from AEH Photography, and she focuses on like families. And we talked about self-care and like how.
Mommy?
Yes.
I'm hungry.
I know. Okay.
We're going in and out now.
Yes, we're going to celebrate Tuesday by going in and out. Okay. Making memories, and then again, just keeping it simple, focusing on your values and your top 3 captures, which I think for her was like, she wanted to get an ornament, the Santa photo, and then like the professional photo. Like, don't do all the things. Pick your top 3 things and get those done, right? Like, if your family is tired of taking family photos, like, you want to make sure you make it fun and you celebrate, right? So encourage them to pick the outfits, again, including everyone to be a part of that process. And so, oh man, like, this has been so much fun. I mean, like, celebrating the holidays, whether you are, with family, with friends, whether you're with clients, through like a Zoom meeting, or your employees, your team members and stuff like that. It's all about creating memories. It's all about doing the best you can with what you have, and just having fun. Really, it's all about having fun. So I challenge you, if you guys are watching, whether you're watching the replay or you're watching live, I challenge you and encourage you to take a little bit of a moment and type into the comments and tell me, what are some of the good things that happened to you in 2020? I see some comments here. Sorry I missed that, but oh, thanks for the platform. You're amazing for bringing us together. Oh, thank you. I would not be able to do it without you, Ritika. It's so important to have a amazing community and people who are willing to share their stories. And so I appreciate each and every one of you for sharing your stories, whether you've been on the show or not. I know that you're sharing your stories in some way, shape, or form. And if you're not, I encourage you to do that. So yeah, tell your experiences and create a new future, right? So we have control. We've got the opportunity to choose to be happy, right? Happiness is a choice. So I encourage you to choose happy and whatever you decide to do to celebrate the rest of this year, make it fun. Look back with the eyes of your child, right? Look back with the good lens and appreciate the challenges because I will say they are probably going to make you stronger if they haven't already. And you're going to kill 2021 and make it, right? We're gonna crush those goals, not crush the dreams, but crush the goals and make sure that we reach those dreams. Okay, so dream more, dream big, and this is my last time asking you guys right now if you want to rock virtual events in 2021. I would definitely invite you to check out my course called How to Rock Virtual Events in 2021 and beyond because let's face it, guys, virtual events are not going anywhere. I'm not sure if we're going to be continuing the 20-minute Tuesdays. It's going to look a little bit different next year, but I'm excited to know what you guys want to hear and what topics you guys want to learn more about, especially in terms of business and marketing and community. That's what we're all about. So do me a favor and please just leave that in the comments. Again, if you also want to check out the course, I will put the link in the comments and in the description. And, from my family to yours, please have a very happy